Before we get to our list, we should go over what is a puppet character. Since there is a lot of confusion with the term, so what is a puppet character? By my proper definition, it is a character who can freely control and position more than one character. And no, it is not necessarily someone who can control two characters, in case someone may have more than one puppet. So let's look at examples of characters that might get confused as puppet characters but are not. Here's one of my favorites, Super Sonico. She does have her cats, and band members do most of the fighting. But her cats are always following her around and start their attack from the same position. Her band members do not come on screen other than for specials, and is positioned relative to her buttons and not where the band members are on screen. She does have a sleeping cat that moves every few seconds for her command grab, but it still cannot really be freely controlled by Sonico. So Sonico is not a puppet character. Despite having a lot of disjointed characters do the attacking for her. How about Kate and Sith from Chaos Code? For the most part, Sith just follows around Kate and is involved in a lot of their specials. She can be placed into a stance followed by one attack, but the position is relative to her button pressed, so it's more of a set play tool. I would not consider them puppet characters, even though you might make a case of being able to place Sith in one spot temporarily, being a minor puppet character. How about Menat? She can place an object that you cannot freely change the position of, which has nothing to do with being a puppet character. But for whatever reason some people consider her a puppet character, which actually, unless you want to consider Noah, Bridget, or Mew 12 puppet characters, since they can all place objects, and use them as set play zoning tools, makes no sense. Now let's get to our actual list. Note, I will keep things to games where I at least tried, and judge them based on how useful and innovative the puppets seem. First on the list, we got Lychee, from the BlazBlue series. She's a really minor puppet character, but unlike characters I previously classified as non-puppet characters, she can actually freely change her staff's position. She can basically recall her staff with a button or specials, jump on it, or throw it. The fact that you use a command to move the stick in fixed distances, makes her a really minor puppet character, but she technically meets the minimum requirements of being a puppet character. Next on the list we got an Eternal Fighter Zero character, Minagi. She basically controls her puppet, Michiru, to move a fixed distance using a button and directional tap. Michiru can also enter a stance where her specials would come out faster, but cannot move. Because of the animation needed to move Michiru, you cannot technically move both characters at the same time. She doesn't have normals, and is used in place of Minagi's specials. I cannot say I am too familiar with this game, but from studying what I can, her puppet seems to function more like an assist call in some other games. Since you can't really be too active with Minagi while controlling Michiru. In 6th place, we have the Nakanashi sisters from Big Bang Beat Revolve. Similar to Minagi, you can only move the puppet fixed distances, but unlike Minagi, you can actually change directions, and move both characters when jump, or attacking. All of her sisters' attacks are set to the D button, so she is actually the first character on this list who can control both characters at the same time, making her the first true puppet character. I am not an expert at this game, but she seems to have some ridiculous pressure. Arrows can be used for neutral, as well as combos, and to extend block pressure, no matter how minus on block something might be. Her DP is safe on block without needing to spend resources. The reason I didn't rank her higher, is because she cannot move her sister while crouching, and she still only moves fixed distances. If you want to play this game and learn her on pad, I recommend setting the D button onto a trigger. In 5th place, we do not have a character, but we have Gear, also known as the Arcana of Darkness, who can be paired with any character in Arcana Heart. All of Gear's specials and supers, other than its Arcana Blaze and Eclipse, can be freely controlled, and released by holding and releasing the E button. It gets points for being the first puppet on this list, which can be moved while crouching, and isn't restricted to moving a fixed distance. When inactive, it mostly follows you around slowly. The fact that it's a slow-moving blob in a really fast game, makes it hard to keep up with the main character. It also is preferred to have access to your E-normals, so it's usually mainly used as an OP mix-up tool. It also gets points for being able to turn your opponent into slim, and set up stupid troll combos. Next up, we have Zato 1. With the Shadow Puppet Eddie. Eddie's design is really similar to Gear, but it's a lot more versatile, as it is more useful for combo and pressure extensions. It's also the first puppet on this list with its own life bar, which creates extra meter management. Having to hold buttons and release to attack gave this character a reputation of being hard, which is easier on stick, or with trigger buttons on a pad. Later in Strive, they took away his need to negative edge, which made him a lot more pad-friendly. At number 3, we have the most overpowered, and probably the most controversial puppet placing, Nyarlathotep. Also known as the seahorse owned by Sifla in Chaos Code, she is not normally considered a puppet character, but Sifla has a custom special named Incarnation of Darkness, which turns her into a puppet character. She's got the only puppet on this list that can move up and down, as well as left or right. Nyarlathotep is invincible, but does have a life bar and long cooldown time. Its attacks are poking, shooting 3 fireballs, an extremely active spinning attack, and a super that uses up its remaining life bar. You can cast Incarnation of Darkness mid-combo, or pressure, to make some really ridiculous strings. At second place we have Carl Clover from the BlazBlue series. There probably isn't much I can say, which most viewers would have already heard. You hold D button to control Ada, who have normals and specials that are activated on button release. Ada has her own health meter. But one unique thing about her, is that she can be used defensively to block attacks. She also is the only puppet I know of, who has her own physical form, that you cannot just phase through, when the D button is being held. And of course number 1 is easily no surprise to anyone who watches this channel much or know me. For those who might not know, this is Lieselot Achenbach, from Arcana Heart. Putting biases aside, there are many things that set her apart from other puppet characters. For one, she is the only puppet character I know of in any game, who control her doll's movement, during block or hit stun. Her puppet, Elfriede's buttons even come out on block stun. This can make her defense extremely dynamic, since the attacker has to watch out for the puppet, but also has an option to bait her holding forward, on top of the usual guard cancel counters the game already has. It also lets her set up reverse wake-up needies, using Elfriede. She can also place markers, which cause Elfriede to do predetermined movements towards the marker. This means she has way higher player expression, as she can become more of a set play character. Just try to study the difference between Shiritomatsu here, who likes to make Elfriede fly back and forth across the screen, and Petunia, who usually plays her more like a normal puppet character, but not always. And just for more comparison, we look at Sachimi a bit, who again, plays her really different, to the point she feels like a different character. It is only partially because of the way he used the evil Arcana. And of course, something you got to agree with to make her the top puppet character. Her default Arcana is Gear, which was also part of this list, so she's the only character I know of in any game, who can sometimes control more than one puppet at the same time. This alone should make her the top puppet character.